Hey y'all, Coldfire here. This is a breakdown for the King Minelayer. This brand new and unique weapon is exclusive to the second pack of the Assault Force team called Tango 1. Mr. G recently did a really good video covering the details for the pack as a whole, like which modules it will feature, unique structural parts like this bumper you see, those fenders, and he pretty much covered all the big picture on this pack. The only information I would like to add on his video is that even though those parts are themed after Steppenwolfs, the Bartisan fender is apparently unlocked at the Scavenger's prestige level, while all the other ramparts are unlocked by leveling up Steppenwolf's prestige levels. And for the bumper, I could not find where you can unlock it for free, but I'm pretty sure you'll be able to get it somehow without having to pay for it. So I'm not gonna repeat him. If you want to see more information about the pack itself, go check his video, it's linked on the video description. However, on this video I'm gonna do a complete breakdown on the Minelayer itself. So no more overdue and let's get started. The King Minelayer description says it places a landmine with a proximity fuse that detonates if there's an enemy within the range. And one Minelayer can place only 2 mines at the same time. So the description is apparently that it should behave very similar with like the cap can. We'll check that out in a few. The perk says the mine jumps upon detonation with increased affected area and allows the explosion to hit low flying objects. So as someone stated on a previous video of mine, this is just like a bouncy Betty, which I believe is an anti-personnel mine. For the bars, it has an incredibly high damage and fire rate, and we're gonna go into the exact numbers in a moment. Very short range, very bad accuracy. Maximum ammo count of 16 pieces, so you can get a lot of ammo with just a handful of ammo boxes. A decent durability of 240 points. However, the 3D model for this weapon is huge. Its hitbox is 4 wide, 3 long and 5 blocks tall, which make probably one of the biggest module / weapon out there. It also has some very poor weld spots, especially on the front. It has 0 weld points on the front, which makes armoring pain in the butt to make it lightly. So, as you can see, you can partially block the front side as long as you keep that 2x1 slot clean. You should be able to completely armor the front of it if you can find a way to place armor bits there. But well, since it's hard to armor, let's see if at least have some decent damage. So let's get into it. Before I get into exact numbers, I just would like to showcase the potential of this weapon. Keep in mind that I have only one of those, and since it uses only 3 points of energy, and it don't need radiators, coolers or whatever, just could use an engine, but you can see that the rate of fire is already insane, so it doesn't even need the Colossus engine. You could, in theory, place 5 of them, but I highly doubt that it's gonna be optimal. 5 of them, maybe 4 will be more viable, so you can have a lot of energy free for cloak engine, whatever, Oculus, Verifier, you name it. So here, with only one of those, check out how much devastation I can do against a hover. This weapon don't look that strong against wheeled vehicles, so I think it's particularly tailored to hit hovers and drones. The damage output is not very reliable and it heavily depends on how and where it hits, but if you can land a mine directly below your target, on a hover especially, it will just obliterate everything, like pretty much everything. So I can only imagine by having at least 4 of them on a build, on a close range build, this could be the ultimate anti-hover ever, I think. Especially if you pair it with a Skinner, that could be really dangerous. In my particular opinion, you all know me, I love playing porcupines, but they are so completely garbage against hovers that I will probably start using those Minelayers instead of porcupines for high power score in Clone Wars, because they are so much more efficient against flying targets. I really cannot wait to see those on the game, and it's probably gonna be soon. My guess is next week they will be probably launching this new pack. You can expect the cost for this Minelayer to be at least 3000 coins minimum, because that is so Clone Wars viable, as long as you're playing it right. At first, when I first saw this weapon, I was expecting that it will be a defensive module, like to create a perimeter for your enemy, but now that I could actually try it by myself, I think this is the ultimate aggressive module. It behaves just like the Porcupine. It has a similar rate of fire, and it kind of serves a similar niche where you get really close and personal and you do a lot of damage by sacrificing yourself as well in the process, because you will take a lot of self damage with this weapon if you play it aggressively. But I think this is the way to go with this module. I don't think like hiding behind a wall deploying mines is the way, especially because you can only place 2 of them. When they were first leaked, they didn't have this restriction, so that way you could probably place hundreds of them on the cap and wait for your praise. But with the hard limit of 2 at the time, I think this is much more rewarding to play aggressive. As you can see, the rate of fire of those is absolutely insane. However, you need to be very careful, because if you spam too hard, they will not explode in time. So you need to be careful to not keep deploying before the mines explode. But if you pay very close attention to this slow motion footage, you can... The mine will only expire after the 3rd mine is anchored to the ground. So if the mine has already started the explosion animation by bouncing up on the sky, and on the meantime you have a 3rd one being deployed, they will not be cancelled. They will not cancel each other. So if you time this correctly, you can do an immense amount of DPS. It's just a matter of timing, of releasing your mine at the right moment. So clearly here, spamming is not the way to go. You need to be very accurate and have a good timing with this weapon. Is this broken OP? I don't know, leave in the comments, but definitely if they release this as it is right now on the test server, on the PR test server, this is gonna absolutely shake up the meta. Leave in the comments what you think about this. Alright, after seeing all this destruction, one question that abruptly gets to my head is, can this be bypassed by cloak, just like the cap can? Let's check it out. So yeah, from what I could test, a cloaked target would not trigger the mines. So it doesn't matter if you're close, even if you hit it with your tires or tracks, it will not detonate the charge. So the charge, even though it should be pressure based or something like that on real life, it is visual based. So if you're cloaked, you're good to go. Also, I got surprised by how hard they are to spot on terrain. The first time I saw them, I thought that, oh, they're so easy to spot because of the blinking light, but actually they're not. They're very hard to spot. However, if you have an Oculus on your build, then it's a piece of cake. You just avoid them and you're good to go. As for hard numbers, let's try to evaluate how much damage they do. To do this test, I did my old method of self-damage against the wall. However, it was a pain in the ass to make this part of the video, because they, as Mr. J already showed on his analysis, they take 1 minute to explode by themselves. So this took me a long time to record, so I hope you appreciate it. And by the way, if you have some spare money, please hit the applause button right there on below and donate some money, because I'm pretty sure this is very helpful to a lot of people, so help me out as well. Or you can also do the Patreon, which is linked on the video description. So apparently a direct cabin hit will deal 182 points of damage, and I don't think any co-drivers would boost this damage, or even any cabin. Keep in mind that the Harping cabin would only increase the explosion radius and not the explosion damage itself. And as expected, the damage is dropping the further you are from the explosion. However, I was quite surprised with the drop on the damage. I would expect it to be much more significant but even at the kind of really long distance from the explosion impact, the damage is still very high, so that could be a problem, I guess, both for self-damage and for the enemy. I mean, this is way too strong in my opinion. As for the distance it will trigger, on this test I came up with a number which was like about 7 meters or so, but then I realized a mistake I did back in my Capcom testing video. By the way, that's a great video. If you haven't watched it, go check it out. It's a Mythbuster. It's one of my best videos, to be honest, where me and Cactus and some other friends explore the mysteries of the Capcom. And this Minelayer behaves just like the Capcom. The target, how it measures the distance for targeting is not from the cabin center. It's actually also not from the center of mass, it's from the geometric center of the build. So here on this example you can show what I'm saying, what I mean by that is that it doesn't really matter how close the mine is from the cabin or from the closest part. It's actually what matters is the distance from the mine to the center, the geometric center of the build, and that center is updated as the build gets destroyed. So there's pretty much no way to avoid it other than building a very huge massive build that is unpractical. So yeah, I could not measure 100% accurately the distance to trigger, but visually you have the idea. So I think that's good enough for this video, and I think I covered pretty much everything I could think of. So leave it in the comments if I missed something that you'd like to see. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more. If you can, support me on Patreon on hitting applause down here on the video, just next to the like button. And that'll be all. I see you next time.